Hey guys, welcome back to ABR and Posse G, the third game of this set and a very, very important one for the ultimate outcome of this tournament. You guys know the stakes by now. I don't need to go over them again. Let's get straight to the game and see who takes it down. Again, it'll be Posse G on the bottom and ABR on the top. T-Tar lead for ABR, Zapdos lead for Posse G. Those two Pokemon have been the only leads for both players combined throughout the set, and they're both going to stay in for a Protect and a Crunch, respectively. Special Tar should not be a huge threat to Zapdos here, not that Zapdos can do a whole lot to the T-Tar either, and there's a BP as a Fortress comes in. The fact that he could have chosen anything to go into this Fortress and he went to T-Tar should indicate Fire Blast here, and that is in fact what he goes for. So Special Tar for both players, and a lucky burn here for Posse G, which, I mean, the residual damage is good one way or another. The question is whether or not the T-Tar has any physical attacks. He's going to at least be Crunch Pursuit because he's paired with Fortress. Blissey comes into Gengar, ends up being Bliss on Bliss. Fortress has seen a decent little bit of play this tour. Nothing special. He's not Scarm, never has been, never will be. But Fortress has definitely seen a little bit of love in this tour, and I think that is justified. I think Fortress is an underrated poke. I know a lot of really good players like BKC think that it is absolute garbage, and I don't think it's an amazing poke, but I think there's some matchups where it's really solid, and I think it is more viable than not at all. I don't think it's something that should be gone from the metagame. So there are some spikes. Kuhn comes in before the spikes come down. See what he wants to do. Going to go for Calm Mind here against Bliss. Bliss could get a T-Wave or a Toxic off here. Could also just go for the more safe route of S-tossing it down until ABR can switch in a Phaser to get rid of it. And he is going to go for that play. So the Seismic Toss damage tells us it's a bulky Kuhn. He's got the 404-ish HP. Calm Mind number 3 for this Kuhn. It's getting big. And Toxic comes down at this point to put a clock on it, but I mean, you've got to think it's a rest Kuhn, right? If he had sub, he would have done that already. He wouldn't just be staying in here to eat a Toxic. And based on the amount of HP that he has, he's bulky. So there has got to be a rest coming in the near future, possibly even just right now. It's probably on this turn. So we'll see how ABR responds to that. He's got to be careful about the Kuhn possibly having Sleep Talk. Moltres going to be the response, and it is rest, which is fairly obvious. So the question is twofold. Does Moltres have Roar? And does the Kuhn have Sleep Talk? These are both very important questions in this moment. And it does not appear to have Sleep Talk. And the Moltres does have Roar. So that is exactly what ABR needed there. Had the Kuhn had Sleep Talk and found Surf, the Moltres would have been killed. And of course, he needed to have a Phaser there, or the Kuhn was going to be a real problem. Possibly simply sweep his team. So ABR does get out of it with both things going his way. No Sleep Talk, and yes, he does have Roar. Metagross stares down Bliss. Metagross stares down Fortress. Meteor Mash 32%, nice chunk, and an attack raise. That's not good for ABR. No lefties being gained for Posse. Meteor Mash would have done a lot there, but it's going to be a swing and a miss. And Fori gets down layer number 2. See how long he wants to stay in. The unboosted Mash did 32. Boosted one, 48. That's pretty heavy, but he does get 3 layers down, which is pretty good. Posse has shown 4 spikes, vulnerable pokes, and no spinners, so those spikes could be very relevant here. And Moltres takes 80% from that Meteor Mash, despite the fact that it resists it. That thing hits like a truck, but it will finally encourage Posse G to get out of the way because of the possibility of a fire attack. But it's a nice roar from ABR. Not only was it nice to make that play, but he also gets a little bit of luck with it because he roars out the last poke, which is going to give him key information. He now knows the full team for Posse G, and man, are those spikes good. 5 spikes vulnerable pokes for Posse G. The 3 layers are going to be really, really hard for Posse to play through, given the circumstances where ABR's entire team is still up and relatively healthy right now for the most part. Earthquake 32% there. The faster Blissey goes soft-boiled. ABR continues the pressure. 32% Earthquake again. Same damage that it did the time before. Now it's going to be Swampert that's faster? Okay, counter. I was going to say it's either an awkward speed tie or that. Or a counter, and it's going to knock out the Swampert. So Posse G is going to take the lead, and Blissy's safe here from anything other than boom. Goes Thunder Wave, and it is just boom, so this is going to result in a trade. So we've got ourselves a 4-5 situation with Posse, air quotes, in the lead, but he does have to deal with all three of those layers of spikes that he has no way of removing. T-Tar has shown only Fire Blast for Posse G. It is mixed. It does have Brick Break, and that's real bad for ABR. He went Ice Beam. He's going to get bailed out by a lucky freeze. Blissey would have been in trouble there had that freeze not come. And Thaw does not come either. ABR bailed out by some luck there. Blissey would have had a problem if not for that freeze. But he catches the 10% break when he needs it. It very well could end up being relevant, especially if this Tar does not thaw. Blissey gets herself back up to 100% through double soft boiled here. T-Tar is gaining lefties, so it's a no danger here, but it's also not thawing. And there's another Ice Beam to help it along, 21%. T-Tar can hang in there and take quite a few more of these. The question is if and when it thaws. And so far it has had multiple opportunities and has not been willing. He's had 4 opportunities, I believe. I think the next one's going to be opportunity number 5 to thaw out. Still doesn't. And there's an S-Toss. T-Tar will live another one of these, so he's going to have 2 more opportunities for the thaw here. Finally, he does. And there is a Brick Break, 35%. ABR already knows for a fact that there is a Dugtrio in the back. So he's got to be careful if he's going to kill this T-Tar to have his Blissey at a reasonable amount of health when he does so he simply doesn't get Dugtrio revenge killed. Going for soft boiled here, trying to stay healthy, trying to stay out of revenge Dougie range. T-Tar, of course, is just fishing for crits. Goes Brick Break again as Gengar finally switches in. I think that's smart from ABR. I don't necessarily love where that was going, and for every turn that ABR just sits there and spams soft-boiled, the T-Tar gets healthier and healthier with more lefties. So I think it was good for ABR to recognize that matchup wasn't going well. The T-Tar was getting a net advantage, and it was time to switch it out. So it leaves us in a 4-4 situation. Posse now Thunderbolts against the Bliss, gets Paralysis, 22% damage as well. The power being the bigger thing, though. He now has an opportunity to sneak in the meta, maybe the Dougie. He goes BP, and he knows that ABR has to stay in here because the switch would have already happened, so he's going to react accordingly. And in comes Meta on the soft-boiled turn. Meta, I believe, is Choice Banded. It's not been gaining lefties this whole time. ABR does not have a bulky water and is going to have to find a response to this. Meteor Mash is going to knock out the T-Tar. This Choice Band meta seems very threatening here, and ABR can only respond to it offensively. He does not have a defensive pivot into this guy whatsoever. So in comes the Moltres. He goes Flamethrower. He does not have the balls this time to go for the Roar play, though to be fair, roaring out the Zap or the Dougie would really not be all that good. The only thing he could have done there is hopefully roar out the Metagross again. He roars now, and he does not find the meta, but he finds the Coon, which is good because it's only killed the 1 sleep turn, so Moltres, which presumably has HP Grass, has the upper hand in this matchup. He goes Flamethrower again. Coon doesn't wake. And it's now damned if you do, damned if you don't for Posse. The Coon dies if he switches out and then comes back in on spikes, and he dies if he stays into Flamethrower. So Posse G is resigned to let it go, and down goes the Coon. We've got ourselves a 3-3. Zapdos comes in. Gengar and Moltres both don't like this matchup, but the Blissey handles it fine. But if he goes to Bliss, Posse might simply baton pass to the meta. He doesn't. A missed opportunity for Posse there. Had he gone baton pass and gotten the meta in, ABR would have had to sacrifice a poke because nothing can handle the meta defensively. He's now going to baton pass to meta. Is he punished for it? Ice Beam, fishing for the freeze. Does not find it, and he's now going to have to deal with this Metagross once again, and he just does not have a good answer for it. ABR is going to have to sacrifice a Pokemon, and the poke he ends up losing is the Bliss. ABR now with only 2 Pokemon against 3 from Posse, but those spikes are still down. 2-2 situation as Posse lets the Metagross go. Follow up is Dugtrio here. Rock Slide, a safe play that would hit either Moltres or Gengar here. Gengar comes in. Rock slide incoming. Going to connect. 47%. So a crit or a flinch would be good here. Or the same damage roll will kill the game. Whoa! Gengar's faster than Dugtrio? That's got to be the slowest Dugtrio on Earth. That's got to be a timid near-max Gengar, and that's got to be an adamant Dugtrio, and it's going to come in major relevance that the Gengar's faster here. Now it's only Zapdos. Goes for Protect here on the Ice Punch. It's either going to be another Ice Punch or a Boom here. Posse's not going to 50-50 the Protect. And it is Explosion here, which is not going to kill. But obviously ABR would not make that play if he did not have the confidence that his Moltres is faster than the Zapdos. The Sand will confirm that that is the case. And there is the Flamethrower for the knockout. A very, very tight Game 3. And a really good series overall, if we're being honest. That really, truly could have gone either way, and a couple of these games were very, very close. Game 3 being the best and closest of all. But ABR is just barely, through very crisp play in this particular game, going to nudge out Posse G. And that is going to leave ABR at 3-0 in this tournament. There are 3 players at the moment in the winner's bracket, with only the winner of Illodan versus Asta still to be decided. And it is an elite 3-0 field in this tour. Guys who are really good and playing really well and very much deserve to be where they are. Posse is not out of the tournament if you're a Posse G fan. He is still alive. He is knocked down to the lower bracket, and that means he's going to have to play next round and see what he can get done. But in the meantime, thumbs up if you enjoyed this series. I thought this was a really good one. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the tournament, and please do consider subscribing to this channel. I could really use as many subs as I could get. It makes a big difference for me. I would really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you next time.